This is literally our second ever conversation. We never met before. We literally started talking like a couple
We
days
had
ago.
We had a little bit of podcast worthy banter in our first conversation though.
Live. We're chilling.
Yeah,
we're having fun. What's up, Josh? How you doing, bro?
Chilling, dude. It's a little break for me from the work day, editing videos and stuff.
This is literally our second ever conversation. We never met before. We literally started talking like a couple days ago.
We had a little bit of podcast worthy banter in our first conversation though.
I found Josh on YouTube like randomly. His story felt so much like mine. So I was like, wow. Okay, I want to reach out to this guy. He seems pretty cool.
So I guess I can just talk about why I started making YouTube videos, since that's how you found me. I had always grown up with a camera in my hand, like making videos of my toys and stuff. I got into like stop motion, claymation animations, and it was like, looking back on it, you can tell like, oh, this kid was very interested in the fact that like you could make something that was its own, that wasn't like really what is actually happening in reality. You know, you could kind of use this tool of a camera and editing software to like make something that, you know, is new, that's your own, that's like an outlet for creativity. So during like high school and middle school and stuff, I would just kind of make silly videos every once in a while, but definitely I was more like focused on school. It kind of fell away as a hobby. I would just, you know, hang out with friends and stuff in my free time, but I kind of found it again in college when I found digital media and filmmaking related classes, because my high school was just super, it was like a tiny private school. So it was like math and history and English and science and religion were like our only classes. So when I got to college again, it was like, oh, there's this fun thing. It wasn't writing papers. It wasn't studying books. It was making stuff with a camera. And that was fun. It's like, who wouldn't rather make a video than write an essay? To me, it's like everyone would make a video. Like that's an easy thing, you know? Then while I was in college as well, I started getting hit with all of these, we've all seen them, like guru ads for like social media courses and how to like start a business, and passive income was a term you would start to hear in like 2012, 2014 ish. But I was also, you know, at the same time like sipping the Kool-Aid of like, oh, there's this easy way to like make money rather than going to college and stuff. So I got an online course on like social media marketing, and then I started a YouTube channel to like document that. And mainly when I started, it was like, this is what you do when you start this business so that you can document it and eventually like make your course, right, and sell it and make money that way too. But then quickly I realized like, okay, it's really not fun to just make videos that are kind of trying to sell something and at the same time like be putting attention towards this random business that I found that I also learned isn't really that fun, like making Facebook ads that moms are going to click. You know, like my client was a pediatric dentist, so it was like I was like trying to get in the minds of moms, you know, in terms of like the entrepreneurial journey's first step and like how it relates to the YouTube channel. I kind of just started, but pretty soon was like, okay, this is really a chore. I don't really like this, but I had this camera, this like nice camera that could shoot slow motion and make nice videos. So I just started kind of doing that instead, and still kind of documenting the same, or I guess not really documenting it so much in the way of I'm trying to build this so that I can sell to these people way, but I would still kind of say, this is kind of what I'm up to, trying out while it was right in the point where I was deciding, I was kind of fading away from college. So I dropped out of college. I was in that last semester of like, I was kind of going part-time while I was doing the YouTube, while I was trying to like get clients for the freelance business and stuff, and eventually making videos in a more creative way. Obviously my filmmaking skills had kind of advanced a bit from the like making videos of my toys at that point, but I still hadn't ever treated it as like a craft I can work on daily to make better, you know? Like I could make stuff look nice because I had a nice camera and I knew these are a few things you can do to videos to make them look nice. I hadn't put in my 10,000 hours, as they say, you know? I started putting out ideas that were more kind of the types of ideas that I would be like talking with my friends about when we're just kicking it and hanging out, like trying to find a way to use that same authentic voice that happens when you're just hanging out with your friends, like shooting the shit about life, put out that same type of conversational, like this is a look into my life type, this is what I think authentically type of message, put myself out there in a way to kind of be someone that people could stumble across and follow on the internet. The way I kind of realized that's how I follow all these people on the internet. It's like, these are just regular guys, I realized, you know, and I'm just a regular guy too. And, you know, it's just regular guys, people out here watching all these people through this internet thing that we have. I was just trying to be me, and in a way that was, you know, discoverable and findable through the medium of YouTube, my just thoughts on life in general, you know, and then through just like making videos about the things I make videos about, I made basketball card videos, and those kind of like started getting a lot more views on my channel than I was used to. So I definitely still just kind of make videos that I like to make about anything. And I've kind of found a niche in basketball card audience. And it's been cool to see people like you who kind of found me that way, but still click with all of the ideas I have about life in general. And just, it's been working really well lately in terms of just like actually finding and meeting people that have a similar way of looking at life, which was the goal. So yeah, we're to a pretty cool spot. I mean, I'm not like a full-time YouTuber or anything by any means, but it's really cool to see the channel at the point that it is. And I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think your biggest draw is that level of authenticity where you're just you're just documenting your journey, and then you're putting out what you like, because it's like what you said, when it starts to feel like it's a chore, that's when you start to kind of lose that drive to create and the authenticity that you put out as well. Are you inspired by guys like Casey Neistat, David Dobrik, Gary Vee at all? Because Casey's the biggest vibe that I get from your videos. I was like, dang, this guy's like a young Casey Neistat.
Wow. What praise. Yeah, definitely like seeing people on the internet, right, as these characters putting out their story. We're like tuning into the same way television and movies and stuff, people are crafting this story is what brings them in, right? And the characters bring life to the story, you know? And when I would think of the people that I follow on the internet, it's like, these are just people whose stories, they put them on the internet well. They're good at using the mediums that are available to all of us to tell their story. And then there's the factor of like, oh, well, you got to make your life a story that's worth telling, that is going to be interesting enough for people to tune into, you know? So that's been like one of the most motivating things, you know? It's like that whole idea of putting the human experience out there in the form of art, you know? It sounds weird to even talk about it like that, like it's
no, I totally
get it. Some snobby thing, you know?
Yeah, like what you were saying, it's crazy now how in the world we live in, the medium of YouTube and vlogs specifically has become essentially the new episodic television series, where even though these are real people, the way certain vloggers craft their vlogs, it feels like a mini story within each. Every vlog episode is like, it follows that 3-act structure sense.
Yeah, right. The hero's journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know.
I did drop out of college, but I did pick up some theory type nuggets from those classes that I try to take into my work.
Was everything that you learned in terms of photography and videography, was it all self-taught? Because I know a lot of people, myself included, where everything they've learned about the medium was all taught through YouTube videos.
Yeah, it's funny. I know that the same words and theories were taught to me in college, but I really learned them from like Peter McKinnon videos, you know? At that point, it was school, it was college. Like I sat in class and kind of half took notes sometimes and would study for tests, but you're not really going to learn anything unless you want to, you know? So like the pull of seeing that YouTube thumbnail and realizing like, oh, this is something I want to learn, and clicking it and then really absorbing that information, like with my camera in my hands, like, okay, then I do this and then I do this, right? Like doing stuff and learning with videos and stuff is really, and there are different types of people that learn different ways, but I'm definitely someone that needs to seek something out, see the steps
more
of how
hands-on
to do the thing, you know, read a step here, watch somebody do it, do that one thing, then do the next thing, then watch how you do it, then be told like the order of things to do, and then just do it myself, you know?
Yeah, that's how a lot of people, that's their learning style. Yeah, it's being covered in school, but until you have that practical application where it's like, okay, you're sitting down and you're trying to learn it for yourself, like it won't stick at all. I was somewhat the same way, where in high school, I took a bunch of design and tech courses, and yeah, they were fun. But if anything, that's what opened the door for me to do my own further teaching through, watching YouTube videos and everything. Yeah.
There's something about it that's like the passion and desire to learn might not overlap with you actually being in the classes, but it's like there kind of is like a, oh, this is like a legit thing that like really has a lot to it, so much so that there are classes about it in universities and schools. So it's like you kind of do know kind of subconsciously when you're getting into something like that, that it's like, you know, because of the fact that it exists in the school setting, like there really is something here, like lives have been made off this, and there people are trying to teach other people how to do that in some way, you know?
Before we get into anything else, I need to address one big elephant in the room. Do you have any Filipino in your blood? Because Santiago is the most fob last name that I could think of. So
yeah, man. So that's crazy you said that. Have you heard me say anything about the Filipino that is in my blood? Because yes, there is.
No, it was one of those things. I'm dead serious, because my first impression of you, when I saw your name pop up, I was like, this guy's obviously not it. He's super white. There's no
oh my
way.
God, that's so funny. Yeah, so my grandfather is fully Filipino. He immigrated from the Philippines. So my dad and he married like a white chick. So my dad is half Filipino and I'm a quarter. It's funny.
Dang,
like
that's crazy.
My younger brothers will people, they like look totally white, like their skin is white, their facial structure is white, but like, and maybe not so much as they're getting older, but their eyes have that like kind of Asian twist to them.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they're like just totally white. But I don't at all. Like I've got a really bony, angular, rigid looking face. But my younger brothers have a bit of a like a more round, softer kind of Asian look to them, and that's the quarter Filipino manifesting itself. But I didn't really get any of it other than the name.
So I guess you take after your mom more so
in terms of like how I am as a person.
I mean,
or like,
yeah, but also more so like physical appearance.
Yeah, she's definitely just like the bone structure and the whiteness. Yeah, she's white.
And definitely the height, because you look pretty tall.
You think I look tall? Oh my gosh, I'm 5'8". I'm not very tall.
Are you? Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm 5'8".
That's super shocking to me, because in all your videos, I swear you're like 6 foot or 6'1".
Wow, that's pretty cool, I guess.
No, that's the impression I got. Okay, this guy.
Dude, you know what that makes me think of? It's like,
wow,
somehow like subconsciously, the me that's displayed in my videos, right, is like a creation of mine.
Right.
In a way, like I'm trying to be authentic, right? But in a way, it's also a created character that I'm building, right? So what if just the small man syndrome in me, like subconsciously puts me at angles that portrays me as larger? That's hilarious.
Have you ever been to the Philippines?
I haven't. I'm one of the only people in my family that hasn't been there.
Wow. I swear we're the same person, because I'm literally the only one in my family who's never been back home.
Bro, wow.
Is that one of the places you'd like to visit one day?
I mean, it would be, I don't really feel any like emotional pull to it. Like I must be destined to get there at some point, but in terms of just like travel would be cool. And that's a place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. One of the places that you have been to is my hood, Ontario, Muskoka. What's up?
Yes, sir.
I'm always curious, because you originated in Wisconsin, then you moved to Oregon. I'm always curious to hear Americans' opinions on how they view Canada. It's a very wide spectrum. Tell me about your experience in Muskoka. What brought you there?
Yeah, so my experience in Canada was, I actually discovered this summer camp called Muskoka Woods, which I guess it's pretty well known in Canada. It's a huge place, huge business. Thousands of kids roll through there every summer. And I applied for the photography jobs there, and I got a job as a photographer. And basically they sell like daily photo updates is one of the boxes you can check as a parent. So that's how my job exists. So I made photos, and I was also on like the media team in general there. And so I worked with like 2-3 other guys, and would like basically just make videos and take photos all summer pretty much. It was really cool. And I've gotten the question like, oh, so what's Canada like, from people a lot, but I wouldn't consider it like an accurate view of Canada itself, because the people I interacted with every day, so there was 350 people that were staff at that place. There are people from every corner of the planet, you know, so it was a pretty like melting pot group of people in terms of the staff. It was like kids that I was interacting with, and like rich kids nonetheless too. It's like expensive camp to send your kids to. So like going out into town was something I didn't really do much either, because I didn't have a car. So I don't think I really got an accurate view of Canadian culture in general, but from being in airports and Ubers, it seems great. It seems normal, just like anywhere. But
so basically you were limited to just staying in the camp? Like you never really got to explore, like, say, Toronto?
Yeah, I didn't really spend much time in Toronto. Just a couple meals eating out, like when I got there and when I was leaving to the airport.
Right.
But I bounced out like pretty quick.
If you ever come to Toronto and the Bucks are in town,
dude.
If the NBA decides to let fans back in again.
Ever.
Which I feel like won't be for a while. But we're going to move on to the segment I like to call Analyze This. Basically, I did a deep dive of your social media. And I'm going to show you a photo, and you just have to give me the story behind this photo.
Okay. All right, sweet.
Here's the first one.
Oh, yo. Nice. Yeah, so I don't know if it was like part of our tickets or something. They would, that's hilarious. There was just like meet and greets that you could go to after Bucks games. This was maybe like 2012, 2013 season, where like Monta, Ellis, and Brandon Jennings were like the best players on the Bucks. And I think, I remember like the first time I started following basketball, I think was a bit before Monta got traded to the Bucks. You know, I had grown up kind of knowing the Bucks pretty much sucked, and Monta was pretty good. So it was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we got a good player, you know? Like, after the game, there was this like suite, you know, that you could go to and get in line and get, you know, a ball with an autograph and stand in front of the thing and get a picture. And yeah, that's what happened. Met the man, Monta. It was pretty quick. Like, you didn't really do, it was just like, oh, cool. Nice to meet you. Good game.
Right.
Next person.
No, I noticed that the mean mug, though. While he's actually smiling, like, yeah. Do you know the backstory behind the Monta Ellis trade?
No. I think, I don't know about like the Bucks side of it. I know like at that point the Warriors were pretty much deciding like, okay, are we going to build around Steph Curry or are we going to build around Monta? And they picked the right one, obviously.
Yeah.
But other than
because
that,
it was going to be one of the two getting dealt. Yeah. No, that's basically it. So essentially Steph Curry could have been throwing lobs to Giannis. Blows my mind to think about.
Oh man, yeah. Instead he's ducking underneath Giannis in the All-Star game as Giannis dunks it. Yeah, right.
Here is the next photo.
Oh boy, holy Christ. Yeah, I was in a fraternity in college, and it was weird because it was a Catholic fraternity. My family's all pretty religious, so it was in Catholic high school. Stayed kind of like in that community. I'm in like the bottom row on the left for the viewers.
Yeah.
Not really practicing anything like that anymore. If coronavirus is its own podcast, this is like, that story is like a series of podcasts.
Of course, absolutely.
But yeah, dude, I mean, like, I became a human in that time, you know, met people that kind of gave me a bit different perspective on stuff and helped me kind of form what would become my real thought on life and all this stuff, you know. So I mean, it was an important time, but a different time, very, very much so.
I'm the exact same way in the sense that my parents are super Catholic and they brought me up as such. It wasn't until I got to college where, you know, it kind of opened up my mind more. I still consider myself a Christian, but I don't necessarily identify with Catholicism. So yeah,
this is a deep cliff to stand on the edge of and look down, you know. I found just in general, like, it's a really small community. Every time I've been in it, you know, like my school was really small. This fraternity, like in terms of fraternities, was like a really small niche group. So like while you're in something like that, you kind of think that that's normal in the way things are, and like it's us and it's them. And it's tough to have like an open mind talking with anybody when your entire life it's like you think, okay, there's us, and then there's like people that maybe aren't as good and don't have stuff as like, they're not like, we're right and they're not.
The inferiority complex.
Yeah, you know, that like is subconsciously the way that I interact with people even to this day, that like is a voice that's still in my head, that is something that I wish wasn't there, honestly. You know, you have to be really careful if you're like in charge of any type of religious community, or like, I don't know, like religion in general can tend to isolate more than it can include a lot of times, even though no one would ever say that, you know, but that's just kind of the feeling you get because of just the way things are in a lot of them.
There's definitely a power structure there that exists.
Yeah, for sure.
This is definitely another whole podcast that we could totally get into.
In terms of like wanting to tell my whole self story on the internet, it's an important piece of me, you know, to address like that time and where I am now, but I haven't figured out a way to do it, you know?
No, of course, because of the sheer fact that we just started talking the other day. I wasn't expecting you to give me your whole life story. Like, all right, here it is. Sure. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah, please.
I originally thought that you were in an a cappella group when I saw this photo.
Nice, yeah. Oh, the bow ties really give that vibe off, don't they?
Yeah. Okay, ready for the last one?
Yeah. Oh, sick. Yeah. That was a good time, huh? That's Mount Rainier in Washington. This was right around the time I started unlocking the potential of my camera, or at least I think so. It's like I kind of was realizing, oh, like this camera can take really nice pictures. I want some really nice pictures of myself, you know? There's that the photographer's dilemma of, you have in your mind the picture of the way you want the picture to come out, right? But sometimes when you just hand the camera to someone and say, well, take a picture, it doesn't come out the way you think. This probably took a few takes of me like setting my camera up on the timer on the tripod and like getting the focus right, getting the framing right. So I was with my dad on this trip, and he was just like walking around somewhere else, and I was here setting up this photo. So I still lived in Wisconsin at this point, and I went on this trip with my dad to Washington, and it was right around the time where I had first kind of gotten the itch for owning my own online business and like being location independent, because it was one of the first kind of like big trips I took to somewhere that was very geographically different than where I grew up, like mountains to hike. Mountains are really cool to me. They're still very novel, and it's a crazy, awe-inspiring new thing every time, because I grew up in the Midwest, you know? Yeah, like the idea of like going on trips like this and staying in an Airbnb and going on cool hikes while I do my business on my computer could be something I could do all the time. Like that was what was in my head during a lot of this trip. But I mean, I didn't have any clients or anything. I was just peering into that world at that time. So that was fresh in my head. Like I could go around and do cool stuff like this if I was an online business person.
You had the vision, yeah.
Vision was so bright that I'm wearing my sunglasses, it seems, in this photo.
Well, that transitions perfectly into my next question. Define the word thrive.
Ooh, good, good. I don't know if I first thought of it or if it was just the result of some, banter between my friends and stuff. But if you have an actionable plan, the self-knowledge and, reasonable expectations and a bit of an ability to kind of step outside yourself and take in the present moment, you can kind of be thriving at any moment. If your situation doesn't have to be great, but you can decide to thrive if you have the things in your life that you're striving for. Like I say, like reasonable expectations. Of course, you don't want to be caught up in just chasing the next thing at all times. But if you're fulfilling what you want to be striving for in your life and you're happy about it, then you're thriving, So you gotta strive to thrive.
What made you pick the pillars of health, fun, and agency?
That was straight up one of my best friends from high school, Clint, came up with that health, fun, agency. Like while we were on kind of a like thrive, what is it type of conversation. He's like, yeah, when we boil down to it, what do we just like really need at its most basic level in life to be like what are the fundamental pieces of a good human experience? Health, the body. This is the physical vehicle of the human experience, right? It has to be nice and good and you have to take care of it. So health, and there should be systems in place that make it easy for you to do that, which is another whole podcast, American healthcare and how it's not free. So health, yeah, got to be on that. Fun, it's like there's parts of the experience that are subjective, right, that are just enjoyable for just parts of being human that are just enjoying being human. That's different for everybody, having fun, not just working all the time. And that kind of is the last thing. Like agency, the ability to do what you want when you want to do the other things. Like agency in a lot of ways is monetary. You have to be able to afford to have the time to do the stuff you want and to get the stuff you want if that's what you want. Yeah, agency, do what you want when you want. Structure your life in a way that allows you to have the freedom of time and eventually, maybe not for everybody, but ideally money too.
Yeah, honestly, I came across you because of your basketball card videos, but it was that video where you described that message. That's what made me press the subscribe button because nice. I was like, this guy's on the exact same wavelength that I'm on. It was so cool to see someone with such a, not just authentic portrayal of themselves that they're putting out onto YouTube, one that's anchored in that message of thriving.
Cool. Yeah, that means a lot to hear because I often look back on that video and like, a lot of times you like kind of don't remember what's in a video and then you click on it and watch it. And I always remember like this video, I don't know about this video. I remember that I was just like yelling a lot and that it maybe isn't too accurate of like how I tend to be in general. I'm pretty like mostly the same mood all the time, but I was like yelling in that video, but then I watch it and it's like, okay, no, I definitely believe all this stuff. I'm going to keep it here,
Are there any videos on your channel that you've taken down because you just watch them and you just cringe or you're like, I don't like this?
I don't take them down. There are plenty though.
Nice. That's dope. Oh, that make you cringe?
Oh yeah, dude. My first video ever where it's called "I Will Make Money on the Internet" and internet is spelled wrong.
I watched that one. Yeah. It said like it's like internet or something.
Like yeah.
But
dude, I mean, it's like that's the whole appeal of it, of a YouTube channel, like being the show, being the thing that you're following, is you can go back and see like how did they get here. As embarrassing as it is, I would be taking away from that experience if I took that stuff down.
Absolutely, of course. I don't know how many YouTubers you follow, but there's do you know Mr. Beast?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you look at his very first video, it's like a Minecraft video.
Right. Yeah. There's hundreds of them too.
It's great that you keep them on because it's so cool seeing the transformation and the journey that someone goes on. You essentially watch the come up story in full by going from that very first video to where they are now. It's incredible.
Right. It's tough to sometimes look at channels where they have done that. Maybe they delete videos, or maybe this isn't their first channel, right? And they've got 10 videos and they all have over 100,000 views and they're really high quality. And it's like, definitely there was a point where I just had to be like I'm not that kind of channel. Like I'm just a guy. I'm just a person, and these are the videos that I put on YouTube, and that's what this show is that you're watching. It's a history of me attempting to make this show,
Exactly.
It's not a thing that's already been built and is being put out there,
I'll admit I'm victim to doing that. The whole Friends with Ben concept started out as a sketch comedy channel.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, nice. That's where it started because of the acting and performing background.
Right.
Then it wasn't until I transitioned into this when I realized, damn, this name works so much better for this idea.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like this is your show, we're a different channel,
Exactly. We're gonna wrap it up with some rapid fire and call it a pod.
Cool.
That's the corniest thing I've ever said. No, that's not the corniest thing.
Call it a pod.
But anyways, ready for the first question?
Yeah, pull it together. Here we go.
How do you take your coffee?
Black. Depends on the coffee, actually. I mean, okay. The rapid answer is black, but I'm a coffee nerd. I have a Chemex. I grind it. I filter it through paper. If it's lighter and more acidic and fruity, I like to taste all of that and not interrupt it with anything. But if it's like a darker, more bitter roast, like if it's any drip coffee, like from McDonald's or something, I mean, I'm happy to drink it black, but that's a time when I'll give it a hit of cream. Tell me this 10 years ago, and I don't think I'd ever be saying this, but I do like to just taste the pure coffee flavors.
Oregon or Wisconsin?
Man. I'm happy I grew up in Wisconsin. Definitely like the nature and the geology, and I'm looking out the window right now and I know that over the hill I'm looking at is the ocean, and that's pretty cool. There's no bitter, cold, hurts to breathe winter out here in Oregon. But in terms of friends and stuff, Wisconsin, like my best friends, some of my best friends are in Wisconsin, and I live in a really small town. The only people I interact with are my family. I don't really have, it sounds dumb, like sad to say, but don't worry, I'm doing fine. But I don't really have any friends out here. So Wisconsin for friends, Oregon, geography and places to adventure. There are plenty that are
Nice.
Extraordinary here.
Nice. Your all-time Milwaukee Bucks starting five.
Okay. All right. So gotta have Giannis, Kareem on Oscar, right? Probably Ray Allen. So Kareem at the 5, Oscar at the 1, Ray at the 2. You could put Giannis at 3. Oh, Andrew Bogut had a good run with the Bucks. He'd be a good big. It depends how you want to play. You could throw Larry Sanders in there, go real long and defensive, or you could put Giannis at the 4, throw Ray at the 3, and have Michael Redd or Monta at the 2. I'd probably take Michael Redd over Monta.
I was waiting for you to name drop Michael Redd. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
dude was a sniper.
Only Bucks fans know how good he really was. Let's say we go small ball. We need 3s. We're gonna go Kareem at the 5, Giannis at the 4, Ray Allen at the 3, Michael Redd at the 2. They could switch. I don't know. They'll be fine at the 2 and at the 2 and the 3. And then we'll go the big O for the 1. Average or triple double for us.
This is kind of a side question, but if you replace Chris Middleton with Michael Redd, do the Bucks win it all?
Ooh, man. So Michael Redd's era was before I would sit and watch every game. It's tough to say how many times was Redd an all-star. I don't know. More than Middleton?
I think only 1 or 2. I don't think more than Middleton.
But you could argue, you could argue that Middleton is getting more recognition because the Bucks are just way better now, and he kind of gets that, like, they're the best team nod, because no one would say that he's better than Bradley Beal.
No.
So it's tough to say. Like, Middleton probably gets a bit more of the nod because the Bucks are just way better, and maybe he's more consistent because of that. I mean, for fun, let's swap them out. Let's see what happens.
Start, bench, or drop. Michael Redd, Chris Middleton, Ray Allen.
Start Ray, and then to come off the bench to back Ray up. So this is the thing. Like, I don't think I know Redd enough, but we'll just from what I've seen from Chris, he's pretty consistent. I know Michael Redd had a bit of an injury history, but so is Chris. That's tough. Let's bench Redd and we'll start Chris, since we swapped him out before. We'll give him the bench nod this time. Photography
or videography?
Ooh, another tough one. Photography is definitely, I think photography is easier. Obviously, they're both, like, I'm not really a professional at either, but there are people better than me at both. We'll get that out of the way and I can speak freely. So I think photography is easier because it's one thing and it's using one sense, just what you see. Video has to have sound. It has to have movement. It has to, like, more is happening. There's more pictures that build one video, and then working on it, editing photos is more chill, maybe a bit more fun. Like, I can listen to a podcast, I can smoke weed, I can, like, listen to music and edit photos. And I mean, I could still do all that when I edit a video, but it has to be a much more unbroken chain of focused attention to create a video. But then a video is more satisfying because it is just took more to make it. Like, a photo as one frame of time is a cool idea, and videos aren't that.
Final question. What would you tell your 13-year-old self?
Buy Bitcoin and sell it in 2015 or 2016, whenever that was, like, really high. No, this definitely touches on the like I'm happy where everything is now, and it wouldn't have gotten to this point if I changed something. But yeah, like, I met the most important friends in my life in college, but college set me back in a lot of ways, financially and in other ways that I can't really quantify, but maybe think about college more. I'm trying to think of, like, one thing that would lead to the most things. you know, rather than just like, don't buy a car that maybe has a more expensive payment than you're comfortable with, or like start your YouTube channel sooner. So I'm trying to think of something that's like an anchor habit, they call them, like one habit that kind of leads to other habits. And I think journaling is a really important one. I definitely got a lot more productive because I did that. And I wouldn't, like, if I was going to say something like start your YouTube channel sooner, maybe something more along the lines of like start being more mindful about how you spend your time, which is something that journaling kind of builds. I could have maybe eventually being mindful about that leads me to the same path that I am now. Maybe I could have done better stuff, but yeah, I think journaling would be a super important thing to do. Not doing the things that put me in a hole financially that I'm in now. So like a car and college. Think about that more and journal and start your YouTube channel sooner.
Bro, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for inviting me, dude. This was really fun.
Thanks, man.